Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 0x24, Super Happy Dragon Lucky. Apologies for the slow start. We're trying to simulcast, and it looks like we didn't have approval to do it to LinkedIn, so that'll be next week. We'll get some more testing in and try some interesting stuff then. Okay, so this week, we have a few good things to go over. First of all, we have the what we've been doing every week, coronavirus update. And one way or another, it seems like at least locally, traffic's getting better or more normal. I guess getting worse has been great. But people are actually going out a little bit more. And, I've still been staying in mostly and getting grocery pickup, stuff like that. So it's been a very interesting time. And of course, there's a lot of interesting news going on I guess if you look in coronavirus layer in Den, but hopefully everything's moving forward and we're basically getting over this in time, and hopefully it won't be as bad as everyone thought it might have been. So we'll see. Not a lot to report locally though, so everything's moving along. Been really busy though lately. So next up, we have if you saw this past week, there was an announcement that Coin spun off or created a new entity for a project, an app called Raiinmaker that basically rewards social engagement with either ownership or other rewards. It's basically a social engagement reward system that's based on blockchain and built on Dragonchain. And we're actually building that system with them, for them, and the mobile app. And there will be a lot of really interesting stuff coming out. Our most recent announcement was the fact that we're using the SDK that we've had for a while for Dart and Flutter to build the mobile app. And it'll be a multi-platform, iPhone, iOS, Android, and in the end, web as well. So that's a very particularly interesting project for a bunch of different reasons. A lot of really cool IP, a lot of really cool tech is going into it, all the way from the normal, proof of engagement, some limited proof of human, decentralized identity will be in that. Of course, mobile, social, and locale, but some really interesting combinations, and the way that they're modeling out the rewards program is extremely interesting. So we're really excited to be a part of it, and it's a really good team. So on top of that, we will so get over there and sign up for early access either way. On top of it, one of the first projects going out is Open Source Money, which is the project that we've been working with a group for almost 2 years now, I think, where it is basically a story of the crypto world with the wider crypto world with a focus or a timeline of Dragonchain involved in that through from the beginning of our process all the way up till today. And they're still filming and doing a couple of things as well. So it's a really interesting story. I hate seeing myself on camera and especially hearing myself. So I've tried not to watch too much of it, but that makes it harder to do reviews and stuff, right? So either way, check it out. Join up for early access to Raiinmaker. They're going to want and need a good number of users for the beta, which I think is later this month. So get in there, and there will be rewards. There will be interesting things about it, and you can help us promote the show and do the organic marketing stuff. So get over there and try that out. And the links will be, if they aren't already, they'll be somewhere in the in the description on the YouTube video. So next up is Den updates, right? So if you know what we've been doing there, we've been rolling stuff out piece by piece, and trying to get some new features built in for some of the partners and some of the customers that we're working with as well. So we do have some profile pieces that we're trying to figure out if they would be premium user things, but one way or another, there will be some interesting features coming in, and there's some new media features that should be out next week, and we're working on the completion and the user interface for the reputation system, and I'm going to talk a little bit about it. That what we're looking to do is to include, I mean, the original concept was to have a crypto aware community forum, and predominantly because we wanted to eliminate the trolling, the FUD, some of the other things that you have online on Twitter and on Reddit and Telegram. And we were and we will be implementing a time gating system where inside of the Dragonchain layers, that you have to have a certain amount of time in order to post, maybe a little less time if you want to reply. And then we leave voting a little more open to almost anyone. But we know generally that everybody in there, it has some actual loyalty to the project. So it'll be a little more honest discussion and a little less gaming of the markets and things like that happen. So, but because we ended up with a lot of layers that are a lot more general purpose, earlier than we expected, we're rolling out a generic reputation system that does focus in the same way on the way that people post, and it tracks it on chain, and everything's provable. And the beauty is the fact that all of the voting and all of the posting and everything that have modeled scarcity. So all of that together means that we can treat it almost like it is a cryptocurrency inside of Den, even though it isn't, for the reputation. And it does have a direct relationship to production of matter, but it cares less about what day you post it on and things like that. And the point is that, I guess generally, that I want you to know about is the fact that there is a site-wide reputation and then a layer-specific reputation for every user. So what that means is that if I have a layer that I want to keep, a little tighter, I want a little less noise maybe, and I don't need a ton of people coming in, that I can set a relatively high threshold for reputation site-wide for new users. So, because if you come to my layer, you're not going to have any reputation inside of my layer. And, you might have a great reputation on the outside in other layers. Let's pretend, like say, if we're talking about politics or something. And I can say, okay, looks like you're a generally well-behaved user, so I'm going to let you reply in my layer for a little while. And when you build up a reputation inside of my layer, now my layer-specific reputation thresholds take hold, which means that maybe I can be a little more open to letting you post once you've proven that you don't cause trouble or that you're not posting inappropriate content for my community, things like that. And so we're going to be releasing that soon. And we will have a couple of other interesting aspects. We're also about to finalize all the details on some of the entity stuff. So hopefully, I talked about this, I think even last week, it should be spun off pretty soon. And with that, once we get lore and lot in place, then we will probably release everything for all the crypto and really start. I mean, it's really mining right now. It's really running. We're about to do a smart contract swap for Matter, we do believe, and the others will follow soon thereafter. So anyway, a lot of exciting stuff. Next week will be, I'll wait to tell you about that because it'll be easiest just to demonstrate what we're adding, and we can talk about it then. So the next thing up is the Forbes advert, and so I should have started up here. It's really interesting that we got into the billionaire issue, special issue. That was unintentional. It was because we had a delay in posting it. But let's see here. I'm going to go down to it. So you can tell everybody we made the billionaire list issue. Of course, not ranked. And now I have to find a page number so I can find this again. There we go. So it's the full list, and it's a pretty nice ad. The team really did a great job on it. We basically, this is very much focused on enterprise. So the whole point of this is business. Ignoring crypto, taking a step back and not worrying about crypto Twitter or any of the crowd or any of the name calling that goes on in Twitter, but instead to talk about what we can actually do. GDPR, CCPA capable platform, security, reliability, 250 million transactions in 24 hours, and we know we can scale more than that. If anybody needs to, and the fact that we're first hybrid, the first blockchain interop, enterprise ready blockchain, where we have patented interop, patented loyalty, patented scalability, and where we're already connected operationally, and I believe there's an article coming out that actually has some of the metrics and some of the history on this interchain capability that we've been told by enough people that do all of the research that we are indeed the only operational interchain that it's a very interesting position, and we're probably a little bit early on it, but what we're doing is leveraging these for public interchains, Bitcoin, Ethereum Classic, Binance, to secure all of your transactions. So any business transaction on Dragonchain is secured by all of those other networks, which is it's one of the most important aspects or uses of interchain. The fact that we do have utility as well with all of those chains, and we have used it in production ourselves and customers. And the fact that we have since 2018, actually demonstrated an operational token swap, which anybody who's ever used the console, anyone who's ever claimed time, applied time, or funded an account knows that we are doing that token swap between Dragons and Dragons on Ethereum. And the last is the traditional interop, which we've definitely seen a good amount of that on the system. And you can see it. There's a demo even from last year, I believe, on using Dragonchain contracts as oracles, or to to provide an oracle for your own business. So anyway, that ad is currently in the online version, and I think you basically have to have a subscription, and maybe even a premium subscription to get the online version. But the print version will be out soon. I don't know the date. This actually had a delay because of coronavirus. So I have no idea if they're seeing print delays or not. But we'll get that out. We'll probably post this. I don't know whether we can legally post the download for this or not. Probably not. But we'll find out. Either way, we'll post the ad. So now let's see here. Last thing to go over is let's see here. I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna go here. Is we're gonna bring in Jonelle, and basically here I need to put headphones on. Sorry, I forget.
You can hear me?
Yeah, I can now. So hopefully everyone can hear our good friend Jonelle. Oh yeah, I wanted to change to this too, by the way. You know, one way or another, we wanted to talk to Jonelle about what he's doing now, and in particular because of what we're doing with him now. So, you want to introduce yourself, Jonelle?
Yeah, sure. So my name is Jonelle. I'm the co-founder and COO over at Coin/Raiinmaker, and then obviously still a Dragonchain advisor and hanging out with Joe on a regular basis. Even that. Look at that handsome still. You know.
Yes. These are old days, right?
Look at that. So.
I couldn't find any more embarrassing stuff. I looked, right? But
wasn't that when we were presenting that Starbucks stuff? No, just kidding.
I think so. What's in the back?
Good memories.
Yep, on the map. That was the that was in your days of tinfoil hat.
Oh gosh. Okay. Anyway. Yeah, I thought it'd be a good opportunity to come and hang out with you guys today, talk about the Raiinmaker project, talk about my transition over there, and just super excited to continue to work with the Dragonchain team. I'll bet a little bit in a different position, but again, you know, kind of being firsthand, obviously, I am extremely aware of the capabilities that the Dragonchain platform is able to do. Working with JD and Ben over the course of the last couple of years, again, having on and off conversations, you know, they were, there was a combination of technologies that they were working on, from T0 to, I can't even remember the other guy. But as I started coming on in a consulting position, you know, we did some traveling, met with some vendors, and it was just one of those things. It's just, there's no comparison in terms of the technology that Dragonchain brings. So that was, I'm super excited to be able to continue to leverage kind of what makes Dragonchain so awesome is the people working behind it, building that technology, and still having that awesome differentiator running my new company. So yeah, super excited on that stuff.
Great. Yeah, because we've been, I was really excited when you guys turned on this new, I guess this new project, because we've known and we've worked with JD and Ben for quite a while, both with the open source money piece, but also with their own systems. Basically advising them, trying to help them figure out what's real, what isn't, and where they can move next to when they were building out what they have been building out. But adding this piece really kind of closed the loop. It seems like full round trip, and the fact that I talked to him yesterday, even JD, and that it was really interesting because they're always, and depending upon the project and depending upon the community and where it is, even that there are certain things that they can and can't do. And so it was interesting to me because I hadn't quite thought about it from that context. But it's great because the architecture that you guys have in place lets you be extremely flexible. That the rewards can be anything from equity, if it's legal, registered, if it's all whatever's required, but it can also be marketing payments based. It can also be merch. It could be just promotional stuff. So anything could come in then and use that. And the token model that JD has stuck with since the beginning, and I tell you, it's been consistent since we started talking to him back. When was that? It was early 2018, I think, right?
Yeah. I probably have only been working. Well, yeah, the project was probably only like a couple months old at that time. I think we were brainstorming the very first iteration of Super Happy Dragon Lucky.
Yes.
And it then evolved instead into what is now open source money. That's premiering in a couple months. But then we still have Super Happy Dragon Lucky now, of course. So.
Yes. Well, and it's helpful too, because everything kind of came together, and I have to make sure that I try not to be pushy or anything on some of the tech, but what you guys are doing is brilliant, and the fact that there will be integrations with some of the identity systems as well. Is really valuable, because I mean, for us it's adoption, so it's always beautiful, but for you guys it's actually even about proof that the person that did something, whatever you're wanting to score for your loyalty, is actually a person, that there's some measure, right? And some of the earlier stuff, it won't be super heavy, but it'll be really valuable addition to just saying, oh, it's a click, right? Because a click it could be a lot of things, right? But you really want the like the secondary engagement. So that stuff's fun.
I mean, the very real problem that marketers are having right now is that capability to actually measure the return on engagement when they hire influencers, when they hire affiliates, when they do these kind of marketing pushes, right? And the whole idea is that, if there's a way to essentially almost like measure word of mouth, if you can measure the actual work that people are doing when they post, like, comment, and subsequently get those additional interactions that the marketers so value, how to then empower the marketer to reward these people, right? The thing is, especially in influencer marketing, it's getting more and more expensive because of lack of supply, right? You have all these large macro influencers, and you're trying to get these micro influencers. But the thing is, there's a real cost to find these kind of nano small influencers, right? But they exist, and there's value to it. And that's kind of where the unfair advantage that JD and Ben bring, in terms of when they first thought about this idea long ago, was when they launched the documentary series about, I want to say 8-9 years ago. That was, at that time, the most successful crowdfunded documentary to date, with absolutely no marketing budget, and made millions of dollars. Why? Was because they leveraged these people that were passionate about aliens, Area 51, and all that jazz, and they inherently were incentivized to share that project, right? They might not have thousands of followers, but their word in that area is valued. They're the influencers in that area. So if we can tap into that, and in the same way that we're kind of hoping to do with these test projects with open source money, with all the awesome Dragonchain community and blockchain people that are passionate about that, but then actually reward them for sharing from it. Same thing with Atari, where that is the granddaddy of video games, and tapping into that community. We have a couple of cool projects that are also in the background, from other movies to music to bands, that are interested in terms of essentially democratizing the influencer marketing process and actually really reward people, right? And that's where we're at right now, building with Dragonchain. We're a little bit in the alpha phase, as we're starting to work with customers to test out these key features and functions that they would need in order to reward and work with anyone and everyone. And yes, and the goal is end of month, beginning next month, as we test more of the alpha, to enter our beta phase.
That's great. It's great. And on that, see, I get to play the person asking the question here, right? Where
Yeah.
I was like, and I know you can't say who, but you have other customers in Q, right? Not just Dragonchain, not just Vision Tree's own projects. So is that looking good? Because it's a really interesting concept and maybe hard to describe sometimes, to traditional audience.
Yeah, and that's the idea is proving the concept first with open source money, right? And to show, if at the end of the day that I can walk into a studio and show them the real return on investment on the money they bring, instead of just like, hey, this person has 20,000 followers, let's just pay them $250 for it, right? But what if you can actually put an incentivization of sort, a marketing budget or profits of the product, and basically use that as an incentivization mechanism to drive the creation of communities. And we're actually seeing a lot of interest in terms of actually having a return on value on their marketing budgets, and especially the idea of connecting with the people that are passionate about has been really of interest with various companies that we're basically flirting with and talking with and have verbal agreements with. And yes, so that is beyond Raiinmaker. Sorry, not Raiinmaker, beyond Atari and stuff like that. But like I said, yeah, we haven't publicly posted anything about bands, but we are working with a couple bands in terms of potentially their next album release, right? How could they leverage the people that would already stand up in line, pre-sale their tickets and stuff like that, and especially kind of post-pandemic. So we're super excited just because we feel like we have a good team with a good set of connections and abilities to kind of do this cross between this cross of marketing, media, and entertainment, and disrupting the industries that we've all worked years on.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's great. Okay. All right. So let me ask you one more question. When was the last time you were outside?
Oh gosh. Actually, no, not too long ago, only like yesterday, but that was the joke that I was saying that over the last 30 days, I probably have only been outside twice. and the sun was so nice in regards to just realizing like, oh my gosh, like I've been working on Raiinmaker stuff just nonstop.
Cool. And how far have you traveled? Were you just outside in the yard?
Like just exactly. Yeah. Okay. If you're talking about like beyond a half a mile, or maybe even like 400, 500 feet from my doorstep, that's been like 2 months. That's been a minute.
Because it's been nice and out there. And yesterday, I was outside just in the yard, but it was just so much pollen, and now my eyes feel like they have dust in them. I don't know if I meant to mention that earlier that I don't have coronavirus, but anyway, and then the last question.
Sure.
Since I know JD isn't watching, who is the best boss that you ever had?
Joe, Dragonchain continues to be one of the biggest impacts in my life, and honestly, one of the when we said we had the opportunity to work with you again, I'm like, of course, I would work with you any day of the week. So I'll get you a nice Andrew Yang shirt for your birthday. Birthday.
Yes, I forgot you were gonna. By the way, I got called a racist on Twitter last night, and so anyway, I'm like, oh, it's like, have you ever? Is there any reason I would ever be called a racist? I mean, I can say politically, I can see people not liking me personally, but
I mean, Twitter, you only have what? You only have 140 or is it 240 characters now to talk? So I could see why there'd be misunderstandings sometimes. Of
that's a cop out. Okay. Cool. But so is Yang still in it then?
No, he's not. But an idea of his is coming up, so we'll see.
Oh, yeah, that is true. Oh boy, yep.
Good times.
That's so funny. Okay, that's cool. Next time, maybe I'll have you on. We can share. We can both be wearing some political merch or something, maybe.
Something. Oh yeah, just put me on the left side of the screen. We'll put you on the right side of the screen. Yeah.
Yes. That'll work. Okay, sweet. All right. Well, good day. Thank you very much for being on. And everybody, subscribe, do all the things, like what you're supposed to do, share it. And next week, I'll make sure that we do a full test. We'll try to simulcast on LinkedIn and maybe a few other places. We'll see. So right on. Okay. So I'll talk to you guys. And hopefully I'll have the lighting better at some point. It's still kind of sparkly because the green screen is not properly, look at this, not properly lit, right? But it's like the best I can do right now. So I'm gonna try to get that improved. Talk to you guys soon. Thanks a bunch. Bye.
Thanks,